everybody, Liz here and welcome to my channel. So today I come to you guys again from a very blank background just because I can't post anything on my wall and because all my books are here and it's... Anyways, today I want to talk to a book that I just finished reading, and that is Six of Crows by Leah Bordeaux. I hope I said that name right. The only thing I can say is I don't know why I did not pick this book up sooner when it came out. I don't know why. I really don't. I have no excuses. I should have, but now I did. And I am actually about 100 pages in already in Cricket Kingdom, and I absolutely fell in love with the world. I gave this a 5 out of 5 on Goodreads. It took me about 5 days to read it just because, you know, I have to go to school and stuff. But I was very invested in the world that Ms. Leigh created. I absolutely fell in love with each and one of the characters. I cannot say I have one character that I absolutely love. I can identify with every single one of them. Every single one has something to bring to the table. The storyline, the plot, the character development is just beautiful. The subtlety in which everything is presented is also really, really nice. So if you don't know what this book is about, maybe I should tell you. So Six of Crows is obviously a kind of fantasy-ish science, it's a fantasy. And basically it is about 6 criminals that go on a job / mission that is basically impossible to recover a prisoner in a territory that is supposed to be impenetrable, and in a jail it's supposed to be impenetrable. And it follows their stories and the story and the struggle that they had trying to get this person out, as well as, you know, the struggles that they had to go through individually and with each other. So that's about all I can tell you without really like getting into the details of the actual plot line. This is a Grisha novel. I have not read the Grisha trilogy, so I mean, I don't feel like I needed to read it to be able to get into this book. We'll be doing it probably after I finish Cricket Kingdom, but I don't think it's needed to see this. Let me just talk about a little bit about the characters and non-spoilery. Kaz, I absolutely fell in love with him from the moment he steps on screen. He is my favorite type of character, who is very much an anti-hero and just so morally ambiguous. Everybody basically in this story is, aside from maybe Matthias, who ends up turning kind of flip side at the end of it. He has so much depth, and there's just so much to his personality and to his character, and his motivation and his drive is kind of, you know, the essence of who he is. Then we have Inej, who is kind of Kaz's right-hand man / woman. She is reliable, she is agile, she is basically like the most badass person in this book. I think she can climb and people cannot hear her coming, essentially. Like, it's intense how many times she snuck up on people. Then we have Nina, who is also an extremely relatable character. She is a Grisha, so she has powers. She is, you know, I guess the least deadly of the group, physically wise, but she uses everything she has in her favor. Then we have Jesper, who is the sharpshooter of the group. His personality is probably one of my favorites. He's kind of the comedic relief in the story. He's always funny, he's very jittery. We have Wayland, who I first didn't know what his role in the story was. I was a little confused, but I ended up really liking him. He's that person that, you know, grows with the storyline. His kind of character development, I think, is the most obvious. And then we have Matthias, who is basically like the odd man out. He got dragged into this unwillingly and throughout the way discovered that perhaps being with these people is exactly what he was meant to be, or what he's supposed to be doing. So that is kind of it for the spoilery part of it. So yeah, like, go read this book. If you read this book, then I'm gonna talk a little bit about my favorite parts and stuff like that. So yeah. Let's begin with the very first chapter. So I think the reason I didn't pick this book up sooner is because I did download the like little bit that you can get on Kindle, and it didn't attract me as much as I thought it was. Like, the first chapter / like prologue thing is really weird. I feel like it doesn't make sense until you've actually read most of the story and you find out what the drug is, the param, I don't know how to say that. So I was a little thrown off by that, but the moment then Kaz comes in and we start learning about this potential deal is when the story gets exciting, which is immediately. You immediately fall in love with Kaz. You really love the type of character he is. You know that he's young, he's manipulative, and he's very like, he'll do anything to get what he wants, but you don't know why he does the things that he does. And I think that was my favorite part, is trying to kind of like peel back the layers and figure out what ticks what makes him tick and why he is the way he is. Obviously, like, also there's so much representation in this book. Kaz is, I pictured him to be a mix between like Tommy Shelby, the way that the personality kind of is, and like an Asian version, just because I didn't picture him 100% as a white, as a lot of people have. I really enjoyed Matthias and Waylon were the only two that were like Caucasian, especially because they're like redheaded and, you know, all that stuff. Anyways, so I pictured him kind of like a Tommy Shelby kind of person, where he doesn't show emotion. He's kind of like, the plan is this, and I'm only going to tell you as much as you need to know, and it leaves everybody else guessing, and I absolutely love that. We have Inej, who at first I wasn't too attracted to her personality, just because she was kind of literally in the shadows, and I was like, okay, well, when is this girl going to be more than just a tool? And definitely she was more than just a tool. She got them out of so much crap. Like, they wouldn't have been able to survive or do anything if it wouldn't have been her. At the beginning, she made sure they got in the boat. Girl rocks. And once they were inside the prison, she was the one that allowed them to escape. Literally, this girl just, I wanted to be her with her abilities. I also picture, I think it was like Indian of descent or something like that, just because of the way they described her. I always want anybody that's darker skinned to be Hispanic because, you know, but Nina was Hispanic to me in my head, even though she had green eyes, but I guess it doesn't matter because I have family who is Mexican and has green eyes. So Nina is definitely green-eyed Mexican to me, especially because she's a lot thicker. Again, we have the representation where it's not, Kaz is disabled, Inej is very able-bodied, and then we have Nina, who is considered in my head, when I've heard, plus size, which is something that doesn't happen. She's beautiful, she's smart, she has powers, she's loves to eat, and I was just like, yes. The whole time she was like, yes girl, like, you have your priorities straight. Then we have Matthias, who is the big, Matthias, who is the big burly dude, and I really liked his character too, because he's just this internal dilemma the entire time, and you're just like, get it together, and you know you care about her, but he was being very stubborn. Then we have Jesper, who is, again, like I said, the comedic relief. He was really funny. His personality was really jittery and very like up and down, and we all know somebody that's like that, who cannot stand still. And he was also very relatable in that sense, where he kind of brought to the table like someone that's very realistic. Obviously he has gambling problems and definitely has like ADHD, I want to say, because he's like constantly moving. And again, I pictured him kind of like African Americans, you know, especially because they say his dad is like pale, so kind of like mixed race, so that was cool. And then obviously Waylon was Irish. That's what I want to say, Irish or Scottish with the red hair. Him too, I was like, what is the point of this kid being here? Like, I didn't get it. He was just kind of there. Like, I felt like he was an add-on at the beginning. Obviously, as the story progressed, you realized he is a pretty big part of the entire overall group, and they all fit together. Like, everybody has a purpose, and everybody has like a secret talent or a hidden talent that is brought forth by being around these people. They are all ordinary people, essentially, I think, except for Nina, who is supernatural, and Jesper, I guess. But they're all people. They all are extremely flawed. They all have great characteristics. They're relatable. You know, they sound like what a group of friends or people that known each other are like. The bickering, the constant like undermining of each other, but also that unity that you get. Absolutely love that. Like, it's not some chosen kind of thing. It is really just them trying to get something done, and I absolutely love that. I think one of my favorite scenes is when they are on the boat together, all like kind of wishing and hoping that Inej is gonna survive. Like, you kind of see that unity between them. Also, you know, all of the plots, twists that happened when the plan was going wrong, and Nina taking the param, and you're just like, how, why? Like, it was just so many emotions. Again, I don't think I can pick a favorite, but if I had to, it would probably be Kaz. I would want to be Nina, I think. Yeah, and just Inej, I want her to be like my best friend. All of them, I want them all to be my best friends. I don't know why it took me so long to pick up the series. It was so good, and it's very fast-paced. Like, fast-paced in a way that didn't feel fast, if that makes sense. So it gave you all the information that you wanted without like rushing it. So everything kind of came natural and things were slowly starting to unveil as, you know, it became relevant. And you didn't know what was going on until like it went wrong or it wasn't going right or until it went right. So I appreciate that too. I appreciate the mystery of each character and how you got everybody's backstories kind of through their perspective as well as the perspective of somebody else. You know, has a story with his brother. That was really heartbreaking that, you know, his brother kind of got dubbed, screwed over, and he had to kind of really be reborn after that was just crazy, like floating on his dead brother, and just realizing that's why he wears gloves and that's why he is so against people touching him. Then we have Nej, who's also really afraid of certain people touching her because, you know, she was forced into slavery, into selling her body. You have Nina, who, you know, has this guilt and for putting Matthias in jail, and also like she was being hunted as a Grisha and the people never thought she was good enough and she had to prove that to herself. And Jesper, who, you know, became addicted to gambling and how that has led to all of the problems he's had. Waylon, who can't read, makes me sad. Like, he's really smart, but he can't read, and how that has like hindered him, and how each of them have something wrong with them, but that's kind of their strength as well, that makes them who they are. I think the only one that's like completely okay-ish is Matthias. Obviously he has some PTSD from being in Hellgate and kind of living with the guilt, knowing that he has been essentially sending people to get killed, and the ideology and everything he grew up with was just wrong. So I absolutely loved the depth that everything went to in such a short amount of time. I think she did such a good job. Nothing felt rushed. Everything felt so natural. I like absolutely fell in love with the series. I am already, like I tell you, 100 pages in to Crooked Kingdom, and I don't know what I would have done if I had to wait a year like most people did. Absolutely love it. I'm so glad I picked it up. I feel like I haven't really said anything like super huge, but overall just I think it is a plot-driven story, but the characters really make the story for me. Like, yeah, the plot is nice and the plot was good, but the characters are what did it for me. Like, that's what stuck with me. That's where the emotion came for me. Like, all of their backstories, all of their doubts, all of the emotions that they were going through, and how all of that worked in their favor and worked against them, and how they had to overcome everything. Just yes, like just a round of applause, because absolutely amazing. I am so excited to continue to read the second book. Also very sad because it's gonna be over, but I won't dwell on that until its time has come. So I don't know what else to say because I'm still reeling and still super emotional and still super in love with every single one of these characters, and I'm way too invested way too soon, but that's the best kind of story, isn't it? So that is all from me on Six of Crows. I will have my Empire of Storms review out soon. Also, that's taken me forever for reasons, and you'll find out later. I will have more videos about my adventures out here in London and in all the other parts of the UK out soon, promise. And if you guys want to see more of my book videos as well as those, feel free to hit that subscribe button so you will be informed. If not, that is all from me. Have a great morning, afternoon, night, whenever you happen to be watching this, and happy readings. Adios!